Yo, what up, guys? Again, guys, I'm gonna be doing this midday live stream, something different, something new. I'm gonna be streaming throughout the day for a bit, hour and a half. Share with y'all what I'm working on. If y'all have some questions, y'all jump into the stream. Try to answer your questions as much as I can. Hopefully, the audio. Try to fix the audio. And dude, my desk is a bit of a mess right now, too. Let me kind of put the mic in front. All right, hopefully the audio should be good enough. I made some tweaks to my audio as well. So, because yesterday the audio was crap, so it should be a lot better. Yo, what's up, man? What's up? What's up? How you been, Lou, man? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself? It's been a while. You're right, man. It has been a while. I actually been like really busy, man. Like extremely busy, and that's kind of why I'm gonna be doing some live streams throughout the day, at least while I work, and try to answer some questions that I can, kind of share what I'm working on, things of that nature, man. Um, because dude, I've been really busy. Honestly, I so of course try to do YouTube and been trying to do Twitch, and then also my work for my company and all that. But at the end of the day, man, I gotta do my company first, right, before I could do anything else. And the last couple of weeks it's just been really crazy busy, man, like extremely busy. Um, so I'm trying to make some time, right? Trying to squeeze in some time when I can, at least with live streams, when time permits, squeeze in time to do my YouTube videos. So I still have that as a goal, still want to do it, but yeah, man, I've been really busy on some projects. I'm working on my project right now too, my Go Share It app, and I've been adding some features to it because the goal is hopefully by the end of the month to start marketing that platform, and see what happens, man. Here's the thing: maybe nothing happens, but at the end of the day, man, I gotta give that app a chance to see if something happens, man. Again, maybe nothing happens, but I gotta at least try it out, man. See what happens. Um, so yeah, man. How about yourself, man? Hopefully everything going good with you, man. Keeping busy. But yeah, man. I'm gonna be doing. My goal is this month, for the month of April, I'm gonna be streaming live throughout the day, for at least an hour and a half while I work, and then kind of share, certain things that I'm working on, right? Like certain projects that I'm working on, kind of share with y'all. Um, because I am working on work, there's some stuff I could probably talk about, but I may not necessarily be able to show the source code. But the stuff that I can show, I'll ultimately share it with y'all, share my screen, show it, things of that nature. Um, and yeah, man. So like that, if anybody has questions of what I'm working on, kind of try to give you some insight, give people insight, and then I'll try to answer some questions that y'all may have as well. Yeah, everything's good. Nice, man. That's good, man. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. So pretty much today, man, what I'm working on is, um, so I was working on last night doing some, pretty much have a process where I'm, creating an XML file that, inside the XML file, I'm encoding some PDF documents into it. And but I'm doing some other stuff too. And I'm also merging PDF files. So there's a lot going on. There's a merge process where I'm merging PDF files to one PDF file by document type. And then on top of that, once the PDF file gets merged, I'm encoding that PDF file to base 64. And then I'm attaching that encoded file to my XML, and ultimately that XML will get pushed out to the REST API, where the trade partner will consume it and ultimately, read it, decode the base 64 and convert it back to PDF. So I was working on that last night. There's a few changes I need to do to it, um, but yeah, I'm almost about there. What I'm working on right now, um, let me see. So I just got got somebody send me an email related to some changes they want. So let's see, what are they asking for? So this is related to Azure. So I do some work, ultimately AWS, but Azure as well. Add 2 new columns. So, and pretty much in Azure, some of the work that I'm doing for this project is they have a SQL serverless instance, running on Azure Synapse, and we have CSV files. So we're pretty much creating external tables. External tables ultimately are, they think of them as, the equivalent of like temp tables, I guess, right? But they're the data coming from the CSV file. So they want to add 2 new columns to it. So I need to update the pipeline and update the schema as well, the external table schema, to the pipeline to include those columns, and then also the external table to add those 2 new columns. So it's not a big issue. So probably do that in a few. Let's see. I've added 2 new columns. Distribution center, NDC. Can you update the external table? Yep. All right. So that's not an issue. Let me respond back to them. Tell them I'm gonna get that updated in a few. Oh, damn it. All right. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward. That's not a big issue. All right. Either way, what I'm working on right now, there's a system. I'm not sure if and again, this is not as known as any other big system out there, but it's a pretty known system. It's called CargoWise. It's a ERP system. Not as big, obviously, as SAP or none of that, nothing to that level, but it's used for like freight forwarding, warehousing, and but it also has billing capabilities like accounting module as well. So you could do invoicing, all within the job, and there's other stuff that it has as well, marketing. It has a lot of different functionality, but the core function of it is for like shipments, imports, export shipments, and then warehousing as well. I do some integration with the system where we get like carrier tracking numbers. Um, like when again, as an example, it's like when FedEx drops off the shipment at the location, right? They provide that tracking information that says, all right, we delivered it at the destination. Here's the delivery date, right? And here's the time as an example. Here's date and time. So I have an integration job where we receive that information from the carrier, and we normally get it. We don't get it in XML. We don't get it in JSON. We get it in a format called EDI X12. So I'm not sure how familiar y'all are with EDI X12, but let me show you a sample. Those of y'all who are not familiar with EDI X12, let's see if I can find a sample here. All right, here's a sample. I got a sample, so let me go ahead and share this. So EDI X12 is a format that's been around for years, dude. Like years, many years. Damn it, let me make this bigger. Why is this not zooming in? Damn it, it doesn't want to zoom in. There it goes. Trying to make it a bit bigger. So EDIX12, to kind of show you how the data looks like, this is how the data looks like right here. Obviously, again, anybody who's new, it's not JSON, not clear and easy to see, because it's all key value pair, right? You got a key and then you got some kind of value. The value could be a text value, it could be a list, it could be another key value pair, but it's some kind of value. XML, obviously, you got tags, segments associated to it, so you could tell to the tags and to the different nodes and things of that nature. EDIX12, you could tell there is none of that. Ultimately, what you have is, see how you got this squiggly line? So this special character here determines the new line. So the way this would actually look, if we would let me put it over here. At the end of that line, ultimately it will be a new line. Just trying to clean it up a little bit so it becomes easier to read. So it will be something like, when you clean it up, anyways, like you don't have to clean it up, but if you were to clean it up, this is ultimately how it would look in a clean format. There it goes. And let me zoom in. There it goes. So this is EDIX12 is the format. There are different versions, and then ultimately that's where it gets. This standard has been around for years, like many years, like way 60s, 70s, like way back when. And this is what's utilized even today by a lot of trade partners, especially in big trade partners or international trade partners. There are companies that are starting to implement, obviously, other data sets, transmission methods like XML and JSON. So I have worked with some trade partners where before, let's say some years back, they were only doing EDIX12. Well, throughout the years, they have started providing other options like JSON. So now you get to pick EDIX12 for JSON as an example. But I don't know if this will ever go away anytime soon. It's like too heavily used right now. And because of that, I don't know if it would ever go away. But this is ultimately the data type that I get some of the carrier informations, like carrier statuses, like that the shipment had been delivered, estimate delivery dates, like those kind of stat information will come in this what's called EDIX12, and it'll come in a specific version as well. So like this one doesn't have that information, because there are some other segments that are missing here that are related to the exchange messaging. But this is the actual, relates to the actual like shipment itself, right? Or whatever. Like again, if you're dealing with like FedEx and you're delivering something, like FedEx delivering something, everything within the segment relates to that. Like it'll tell you the delivery address or the status or the whatever, the weight, that kind of information is what ultimately this would have. Again, as you could tell, you're dealing with what's called segments. Like each starting point is a segment, ST is a segment, N1 is a segment, N3. So it's kind of cryptic unless you know what it is, right? If you're not sure what it is, then it ultimately doesn't really make sense. But a good reference, anybody who is learning EDI X12 or is working on projects, go to this website. Let me go ahead and log in, because you do have to log in. So that's something to keep in mind. And then ultimately, if I'm dealing with 850, so you have what's called transaction sets, right? Everything represents something, right? 850 is for purchase orders. 855 is to acknowledge the PO. 856 it's for shipment notice. The list goes on and on. So all of these determine what it is that you're doing. Like for example, if if you're dealing with warehouse orders and you're receiving a new warehouse order, that would be what is that? Is it 940 warehouse shipment order? And then once you're done with that, and you're gonna provide status back, that would be 45 warehouse shipment advice. So that means the warehouse shipment advice will contain like tracking number, but that stuff that's not what you're receiving. That's what you would create. Like I would create, and I will send it back to whoever's gonna get it, right? Like the customer or whoever, and they will see the tracking the information in there, and status information. So like the 940 would be I'm getting information of a new order. The 945 would be okay. We are the customer. Let's say the warehouse processed the order. Now providing back to them status information like it's shipped on this date, here's the tracking number, and so forth. So if I were to click on this is where you have again your segments. So it tells you right here segments, ST, so on and so on. It tells you what everything. If I click on the ST segment, these are all the positions in that segment that represent certain values. And then it tells you which one's mandatory, what's not mandatory, and all that stuff. So there is a learning curve to learning EDI X12. I don't think it's not impossible, nothing crazy by all means, but there is a learning curve for sure, man, when it comes to dealing with that. I'll make a video if anybody's interested in that. I just know most developers that I come across, especially if you're dealing with like modern technology, right? Like, and you're working for some sort of tech company or whatever, you don't really deal with this. These data sets, like again, like if you're dealing with like Google API or Facebook API or whatever, just in general, you're not dealing with EDI X12 data types. You're dealing with JSON or maybe XML, or as an example, right? EDI X12, again, it's very archaic. It's been around for years, dude. Like it's many years. And it's mainly used by a lot of like very older established organizations. A good example would be CargoWise. Well, not CargoWise. Well, CargoWise is a good example. Probably like 10 years ago, that's when I first started dealing with that system. They used to only deal with SOAP for the communication. Which SOAP, if you're not familiar with, is pretty much is REST, but SOAP is a different protocol. So there's like a header and a body. The body contains what you would consider XML information, but like the header will contain either credentials and some other pieces of information, and you got to wrap it up in what's called an envelope, and then that's what you transmit over to the HTTP protocol, right? Like a post, as an example. Again, that's more archaic, been around for years as well. Well, I've been seeing systems that have been built that are very established and been built for like 20 plus 30 plus years or whatever, that they've been again throughout the years building GraphQL and REST API, and you're not dealing with SOAP no more. You're dealing with XML and REST and so forth, right? More modern, what I want to call more modern technologies. But the whole deal was X12. The reason why I don't see that going away anytime soon, there's a lot of complexities that are added on here, and a lot of these standards are documented. So there is a standard, just like how I went to the where's the website at that I was just at? So like this website here, for example, this website, a lot of these segments and these positions and all of that, dude, this is all structured. So it makes it easy when you're communicating with different files and you're communicating with different trade partners. You have some sort of standard, you want to call it, right? And that makes things a lot more easier. And harder to code, but easier to maintain. Put it that way. Whereas you're dealing with JSON or XML, that's very wild. There is no standard. That's like all over the place. Um, EDI, like XML and JSON, the company, let's whether it be like a Facebook or Google, whatever, they could come out with their own standards for their API, but there is no standard when it comes to globally when you're dealing with other platforms, right? It's like if you're dealing with Shopify, and Shopify has a JSON object that you get in response. Well, they have an internal schema for their JSON object, and you could look at the documentations, but that's not a standard. If you were to go integrate with WordPress, or I don't know, not WordPress, but like other shopping e-commerce platforms that are out there, um, the response, the JSON response that you get, they're all going to be different, right? There is no standard. Where with X12, there is a standard, right? They all have a same standard that they follow. Which, if you're using this, what is this document? This transaction set. So if I'm using like an 850 transaction purchase order, but also with a version, oh man, what am I doing? Let me go back. 850, but with a version of 410. The reason I say 410 because that's a more popular version, 410, right? So let's say if I'm using that, this is your standard here. These are your segments that are included, and then every segment has transaction sets. As you can see over here on the side, we got transaction sets. And again, these are a lot of the partners here. Like these are the big guys that use these kind of integration files to communicate, right? Costco, because I worked on a project with Costco back in the day, they use X12. Amazon uses X12 as well for Vendor Central. Not Seller Central, but for Vendor Central, they use X12. Albertsons uses X12. I don't know about Best. I'm assuming they do, but I never worked with them. Wayfair, I worked on Wayfair integration projects. They use EDI X12. And CVS uses X12. And again, some of these other ones I never worked with, but I'm assuming they do anyways. But nevertheless, this is the structure set that they use. So if you're integrating with them, you're going to be receiving files, and you need to not convert these files. This is what you're dealing with here. This is how it looks. You got to extract it and convert it to whatever if you're going to import it into a system, you have to now translate it into that system's format, right? Let's say if you're going to import it into some sort of ERP system, and that ERP system is looking for an XML document, like in a specific schema, well, that's where you got to extract this data and ultimately convert it to that XML schema. Again, way different format. I'd be more than happy to make a video if anybody's interested in X12 data sets, but it's way different, dude. Doesn't even compare, in my opinion. Like JSON and XML, these are some comparisons. It's different, but you kind of see how they kind of relate and compare to some degree if you're looking at two exactly documents. If you were looking at a document and try to mimic that into X12, it is not the same at all, dude. It's completely different. There are tools to parse these files, and one of the tools that I use is called MapForce, and it works very, very well, man. I do like this tool. It's what we use internally. So if I go to desktop tool, it's called MapForce. Yep, never mind. I'm already here. So there it goes, EDI. So this EDI piece is where it does the X12 conversions. Here's an example of how this looks ultimately, right? Well, this is parts in XML, but ultimately you could pick a input where it's EDI X12. I'm trying to see if there's an example, but I don't see one in here anyways. But this is a mapping tool where you could like easily map it and convert it from X12 to, let's say, XML or JSON or Excel or whatever, right? I mean, the list goes on and on. I was Trying to see how we have inserts. This we kind of select EDI and then database and all that stuff. But I was trying to see if they had an example for EDI. I don't see one. Here it goes. Here's the EDI. So you could tell you got all the segments, your interchange, um, your segments, right? Begin segments, and then you got your positionings and all of that stuff. But it's a learning curve, man. That's the one thing I would say. If you're gonna learn, if you ever have to deal with EDI X12, it's a learning curve for sure, man. Can you explain how a data lake works beyond just the concept of it? Is it another data storage spot that aggregates multiple data streams, or is it optimized data query? So, from a high level data lake, think of it as, I like to think of it very similar to the concept of, you know how an S3 bucket, it's literally one bucket, but you have, like, you could create folders. Like, I'm gonna pick AWS as an example. S3 bucket, you could create folders. So, like, for us visually, or us humans, we see it as, oh, we have some kind of structure, right? We created a folder for, let's sales data. We created another folder for CRM data or whatever. And then as you drop files into these folders, again, for us, it makes it easier to, like, separate and kind of manage. And, we can also build certain jobs to kind of pull data from these folders. Well, behind the scenes, there is no folders. There's no such thing of having folders in an S3 bucket. It's literally one bucket with many objects. Now, there's metadata that helps separate these for us to make it seem like they're different folders. The reason why I'm using that concept is a data lake is something very similar. You have one massive repository, and then in that repository, you could have all kinds of data sources. You could have, CSV file, Excel file, database connection, right? Again, it's all metadata, but you could have, like, the database connection that ultimately connects to some sort of external database or internal database, like within the AWS network. JSON, XML, database connection, Redshift connection, NoSQL. It doesn't matter, right? The list goes on. So all of that is, from a high level, is all part of a data lake environment. Now, the way you manage it, obviously, you kind of configure your data lake. You would have you would establish, certain relationship, like database connections and tables and things of that nature. So it's able to determine that, all right, what's what. Like, it doesn't just magically know what's what, but it would know, like, all right, this database object, the connection is to this external database that happens to be Oracle or whatever, and so on. But as you kind of build all of that in your data lake, ultimately what that means is you could have something like, a good example to be Redshift, where all of these data lake objects, files, database connections, NoSQL, it doesn't matter, all that stuff could be all part of, let's say, a external table connection through your Redshift. So from Redshift standpoint, you could have, like, as an example, there's many ways to use it, but I'm using one example. You could have external tables. So now as you query, like as you log into your Redshift instance, you could see a list of all your external tables, which could be, again, a CSV file or files, right? It could be like a folder of files. It could be a database connection. It could be a Oracle database connection, a Postgres database connection, a SQL Server database connection, the list goes on of all of these, but they're all now in the structure of an external table. So from Redshift, you could easily query and join different external tables right together, but underneath the external table, in reality, they're different. The sources are all different, right? Whether it be JSON, whether it be Postgres, doesn't matter. But you're joining everything together, so you could you could interact with them like all if they all relate together, like all one data set, one data source. But in reality, they're not, right? Data lake, that's where you could just dump all your data of different data structures, and then from there you kind of build on to query, join, and do all that stuff. So I'm not sure you still on the stream, but that's from a high level, anyways. So what I'm gonna do, guys, before I go any further, I'm going to grab something to eat real quick, man, before it gets too late. So I'm gonna grab something to eat. I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. So again, if you don't see me, that's why I want to go grab something to eat. I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm gonna go grab some lunch real quick. And all right. So let's see, what was I working on? Let me switch it off. Let me put it back real quick. So my lunch is pretty standard, man. Oatmeal and some toast. My oatmeal, I put a scoop of protein. So let me check some emails real quick. All right, so let's see. All right, so I'm working on some testing right now, making some changes on how we integrate. So not necessarily the integration. Kind of how I mentioned earlier, we get status information, like carrier information. And let me look at dev. I think I could probably share this. Yeah, I should be able to share this. Should be fine. Let me see if I can make it a bit bigger because it's pretty small. All right, that should be fine for now. So I think this is the one that I've been testing for a bit. Let me make sure this is the case. Let me see if I could tell. Let's see, the 15th. I did send an event over on the 15th. Let me see, when did I send this over? This would have been on February 14th. Let me figure out which container this is. So I'm going to take this number, this key number here. Have a table called shipment event trends. I think it's this number. Nope, it's not this number. Internal job. Nope. Internal shipment. Damn, where did this number come from? You know what? I don't think it came from there. That's why I probably created it manually. Probably put this in here manually. Let me send out a... Damn, I think maybe it's org proxy. Nope. Hold on. I think it is org proxy, but it's a shipment. I think. There it goes. All right, let me see. I need to look at one of my servers real quick. See if this file comes through. Normally it takes a bit. Well, it's coming out of test, so I think there's a small delay in test. So ultimately what I'm going to do, I'm going to send an event back. I'm going to put it in this outbound queue. I'm going to run the process to send that event to the system. And then as it sends it to the system, some of the changes that I made, I want to see if it triggers properly. Man, I still don't see it. Damn, I wonder if it got triggered, but I don't see it. Normally does not take this long. Yeah, I show that it sent it, but I don't see nothing. All right, let's see if there's another way. All right, let me see if it shows. No, still nothing, man. Why is it not being? Again, it's in test, so that's probably the reason why it's nothing coming out in test. I don't know why, man. Test is like very, very slow as well too. Well, let me rephrase that. I think I know why. Because it's test. They don't want to add too many resources for something that's not being utilized all the time. Let's see. So let me go ahead and trigger. There we go. See, it did come out. You know, I could just get it this way. Here we go. This is the easier option. Here's my container number that I'm looking for right here. So let me copy this. As you can tell, it's different than this guy over here, which is what I have in my outbound queue. So this has is estimate is true. So this is an estimated date, but I want to send it to this guy here. This is the like the internal job. So let me go ahead and replace it with that. Apply the update. Okay, so now that has been updated. Next is going to be, I need to run the job to send this over. So let me go ahead and let me find this, see where if we have that job. Let's see. I think I have a script to run. Damn it, where is it at? Scripts, dev. That's not it. Okay, so I think I found it. Let me make sure this is connecting to test, and it is. All right, let me go ahead and run this. But I need to put it in new status first. So for example, this one right now it's an error status. I'm gonna go ahead and move it over to new. And then now I could run the script. Let's see if it runs without any issues. There are some errors. What happened? So it got errored out for some reason. See, now the status code went back to error. So I got this from test environment. This should be valid as well. I don't think what's missing, if something missing. Is the estimate is true, which is valid. Event type delivered. This is valid. I need to check if maybe credentials are not correct. That's the only thing I could think of. I don't know why I have had issues before running it through the normal process and test for some crazy reason. I don't have the issue in production, but we have been having that issue in test for some reason. I'm not sure why. Hmm. See, I didn't even get any response back at all. So let me put it back. New status. Let me see what I'm dealing with here. Oh, I think I know what it is. Damn it. Yeah, I think this is. I don't know. Let's try it again. All right. I think it worked now. Yep, I figured out what it was, dude. That was on me. So now if I run this, damn it, that's not what I wanted. So now it shows complete, and we should have got data back, which we did. Let's see what our response is. Everything's been updated. So now if I come back over here, we should have got a data import for this job. Sometime I gotta close out. Let me close out of it, then reopen that up. Boom, there's a date, which is what I was looking for. So nice, that's what I wanted. And then estimated date, awesome, that's what I wanted. Yep. Cool, it did exactly what I was looking for. The only thing that it should have done too here is triggered. Oh, it's not going to trigger that. Or is it? Maybe it did. Let me see. There it goes, data export. And exporting it based off what is the event here? Trigger, there you go, delivery appointment, confirm, cool. So yep, that worked. Just as planned. Nice. All right, cool. So at least I was able to confirm, and that piece is working as expected. All right, let me see. Got some messages.
From your calendar.
Alexa, off. All right. So do you have a meeting in 15 minutes? All right, cool. At least so the changes that I made right now on the system, the CargoWise system, that actually worked. The changes that I made was more so to update a specific field. Um, and it did. As I import in, as I send the XML over to the RESTful API, the API consumed that XML and then it updated this record pretty much. But what I wanted to confirm is not just that it updated the record, like the milestone, but I configured a trigger to when that it receives an estimated field, go ahead and update the estimated field as well, and that it did do that. Um, so that's the good thing. What I need to see though is I'm just trying to think now. Let me see. I think the only problem I could think of we would have here would be, oh man, I'm trying to think. You know what? Let me try it out. I'm not sure. I guess there's only one way to try it out. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go back to. So we knew initially we had the date of November 15th, right? So I'm gonna change it and make it November 13th. And then I'm gonna make it the time 23:49, right? So let me go ahead and save that. I want to change the status. I'm gonna put it to new status because the new status ultimately means puts it back in the queue. So now that it's in new status, I put it back in the queue. Let me go ahead and run this process. Cool. So everything worked. Everything's fine. So now let me look into the system, which let me close this out. Oh, it did November 13th. No, hold on. Is that right? Why? How come the time? No, there we go. The time is right. 49. So it is changing. It is updating. So as we receive the new estimated date, it did update. And there goes estimated completion date. So with this change, it did update this field, which is exactly what we're looking for. And ultimately what this is doing is saying, hey, if we get a new Is that right? Hold up, because I don't have that over here. Yeah, I do not. I'm trying to think if this is even needed right here. I don't think it is. Hmm. What it's saying is, all right, let me just take a snapshot real quick just to make sure. If I need to put it back. But I'm going to delete this, save, close out, and let's go back and change this to the 12 and make this 20, 2039. All right, let me save that. Let me also change the status to new. Then now let me go ahead and run this. Cool, so that ran well. Let me go back and update, check. See, this didn't change. That did not change. So this change, it says 12, 20, 39, 12, 20, 20, 39. So this worked because I'm looking at it. This did not work. Let me close out of it and let me go back into it again. Nope, this is still the same. So even though this did work, I mean, it changed it in here. So the trigger that I had before, let's take a look at that. It was on arrival estimated date is a field name. The field value is P9 actual date. But it is based on this event, EST. I'm wondering if this is really what made it work. What made it update the field. I'm just trying to think. Mm, damn it, man. I'm trying to think. So the actual value was different because it was different. And it's an estimated date. That's what I'm trying to look now in the events. So if we look at the newer ones, here goes estimated. The event that we got, which is a new event, actually changed, right? It's change. Estimated date change. for the delivery field. So that did update the milestone, which we saw, which is valid. The hope here was that this trigger action would have changed it, but ultimately it seemed like it didn't do nothing. This did not do anything. And I'm trying to figure out if there's some reasoning behind that. I don't know, maybe it's this field. P9, not actual. I'm looking for estimate. So right now, P9 estimated default from estimated default from estimated duration. Let me try this field. Okay, let me try this again. Gotta change this. Let me, damn it, it's not what I wanted to do. Let me go back. Let me move this back to new. And now let me reopen this up. Nope, still the same. This obviously did change. But this did not do anything. Okay, so what I'm thinking is this is not even needed then. This is not needed. That could go away. Under trigger, oops. This is needed over here, which is field value change. And the field will be arrival, estimated delivery. P9 actual date. So now let me save this. Let me run it again. Hopefully this is the last time. And I'm gonna put this bad boy back to 12, 11, 39. And let's put this in new status. All right, so now let's open this bad boy up. Let's see what we get. Oh, I did not update this. What the? Okay, that's strange. Well, I'm trying to think now. Why is it not updating it? I swear I did it earlier, or maybe it only updates it when this is blank. That's what I'm trying to think too, but I swear I thought it did it before. And make sure that I typed everything back in properly. P9 actual date. JC arrival estimated. Did I spell delivery? Yeah, delivery. So that's invalid field, right? Arrival estimated date field. So that's what the field has today. And this shows the actual date being November. So that's what I changed it to, right? It is November 12th, 11:39. So that's is evaluating the right date. And what it should be doing, populating this date value. Oh man, you know what? I actually have a meeting to join, guys. Actually forgot. Actually running a little bit late. All right, guys. So I'm gonna call it a day. Again, man, I'm gonna be streaming every day, Monday through Friday, in the middle of the day here on YouTube while I'm working. Again, showing y'all some of the stuff that I'm working on. Try to answer some of the questions y'all may have related to whether it be cloud, AWS, Python, etc., or just questions of what I'm working on. Right? Maybe something completely different, but you're interested in. So nevertheless, guys, I'll be on tomorrow again and again, Monday through Friday for the whole month of April. And all right, guys, y'all take care, and I'll see y'all then.